Good morning, everyone. It's Beth Kozik from Elegant Greetings. Welcome to our Saturday catalog copycat cards. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I have a really fun project to share with you from our annual catalog, but first let's go ahead and give away the card that I made last Saturday. And this card was made with some of our Celebration products, and unfortunately Celebration has ended. It was a really wonderful promotion for January and February. But I'm really excited to share with you that Stampin' Up! Is going to hold a second celebration, and that will be in July and August. So we have that to look forward to with some brand new products that can be earned for free with a purchase. So just to recap the card that we made last week, this was made with our heavy duty, our extra thick white cardstock. I used some of the berry, which is so cute, the berry celebration paper. And the stamp set is from the Approaching Perfection Celebration set, which was one of our free stamp sets. And then I just added some notches here with our corner punch, or corner trio, I think it's called, and added a strawberry. So it was a really easy card to make. It's super cute. And I want to thank everybody who commented on Facebook and on YouTube. And just a reminder, that is the only way to be into the drawing to earn the project that I make. So I certainly appreciate all your thumbs up, but also be sure to leave a comment if you would like a chance at winning the project. So let's go ahead and pick the winner. Alrighty, and our winner this time is Missy. So Missy, lucky you, you won last week as well. So I will put this in the mail to you. So thanks again, everybody, for your comments. Okay, so today we're going to be working from the annual catalog. Our catalog runs through May 3rd, so I'd like to focus on that for the next month or so here, because there's still so many wonderful things in this catalog that we can work with. And sadly, some of these products are going to retire. Our retirement list will be coming out at the very end of March, so I will share that with everyone. So that will be the time when Stampin' Up! Retires many of their products, so that makes way for room for brand new products that they can introduce. So today's stamp set we're going to use and die set is Mountain Air. This is on page 17 of our annual catalog. It is what's called a reversible stamp set, and this stamp set, what that means is that both sides of the stamps can be used to stamp with. So it's really cool. You can kind of see, like this stamp here, the mountains, this is what one side of the stamp will do, and then if you flip it over and ink it up, this is what the other side will do. So it is really cool, and of course there are coordinating dies. Let me show you what those look like. So here's our stamp set, and it is photopolymer, and our dies look like this. These are so awesome. So you can see that the mountains can be cut out, and then this die here, we're going to use that on the card that we're making today. This actually cuts out these trees right here, so it makes an exact cut, which is really cool. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then there are these really cool trees, which make, they're very, let me just show you the card that I used those on. So these cut out these very intricate die cuts, but very cool. So there are two of those, and then there are two additional trees, and then this is used to cut out the clouds. Okay, so those are our dies. And the card we're going to make is this one right here. So we're copying this card here. This looks like it's maybe a smaller slimline style card, but I'm just going to improvise and make it a regular A2 size card. And so let's go ahead and review everything we're going to need to make this card. So we are going to need some of our basic white thick cardstock. So I've cut this to 5.5 by 8.5. And then we need some of our linen thread, and color-wise we need a lot of inks. So I picked Balmy Blue, that's going to be to make the clouds, Garden Green, Pear Pizzazz, Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Old Olive. And then I also selected a stamp set that has a sentiment. The Mountain Air stamp does not have any sentiments in it. So I'm going to use this one right here. I'm so glad you're in my life, and that's from Love of Leaves. But any sentiment that you have will work great. Okay, so this takes a little bit of planning, so I'll just say that to you. It's not difficult to do once you understand how the stamps work, okay? So I have my cardstock, I have a piece of scrap paper, which I'm going to use because I'm going to be stamping across the width of my cardstock and moving my stamp. You can see how this is much wider than a regular card width. So that will be important to have some scrap paper underneath your project, as well as an additional piece of scrap paper that will fit here across, because I want to keep my card flat while stamping. If I were to stamp with it this way, you can see it wants to pop open. So I'm going to keep it nice and flat, but because I don't want it to be stamped on the back side of my card, I'm going to keep another piece of scrap paper here handy, and then just keep that right along the fold line so that when I'm doing my stamping, this will take on the ink rather than the back of my card. Okay, I hope that's clear. All right, and then we also need a piece of old olive. So this piece is going to be stamped and then die cut and placed at the very bottom of the card. Now you also notice maybe that I have put a few of pencil marks here, and that's just to kind of keep a guide for myself so that when I am stamping, I kind of have an idea of where I want my stamps to be horizontally. Now I know I want this area up here to be just the white where I'm going to be stamping my clouds. So I kind of just visualized where that line will be, put a couple pencil marks, and those can be erased afterward. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by, let's stamp our sentiment first and get that done. So I'm using the Balmy Blue ink. And then I just have a piece of our basic white, and that is 1 inch by about, I think, 2 1/4. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp and add that on there. Okay, and then I'll set that aside. And I've got my chamois here, so you definitely need to have your chamois ready because you're going to be cleaning your stamp in between the times that you're flipping it over. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. Okay, let's do next our piece of our old olive, and I have mounted up here the tree stamp. So let me just show you. Whoops, it looks like I didn't clean that before. I don't know what it is about using green and blue ink, but this is what happens like immediately with my fingers. So the stamps, let me show you how they are. This is the solid side. I don't know if you can see that, but it's completely flat. And then the other side has the actual design etched into it that will stamp the image. Okay, so we're going to stamp with the etched side so that all of those trees show up on our paper. And I'm going to use the Garden Green ink for that. So I'm just stamping here on my scrap paper. And I want to have a lot of ink on this one. Okay, and then I'm going to leave a little bit of blank space at the bottom. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. And go straight across the paper. And we want to make sure we press it down real well so that we get that full image. There we go. Okay, just going to stamp off this extra ink and then clean with my chamois. And by the way, this is 1/4 of a chamois. So what I do is or actually this is a half. So what I do when I receive these, they're actually 5 by 7. I cut it in half so that I can stretch the use of it. And this just gets wet with water, and it's a super easy way to clean our stamps off. Okay, so that's our stamp and chamois. All right, I'm going to give this just a second to dry, and I've already done another one, and I die cut it. Remember that die that I showed you a few minutes ago? This one here. So I took that die and just cut that right out on my Big Boss. Okay, so that's going to make the very front part of our card. All right, And now next we're going to start working on the mountains. So the color I'm going to start with is the crumb cake. And I'm going to remove the trees from my block and then add my mountain stamp. So again, it has this nice flat side and then it has the etched side. So it's really awesome. We can use both sides of the stamps. And again, these are called reversibles. So I want to mount this way because I want to stamp with the flat side. Okay, I'm going to bring in my card. So again, I put these pencil marks here because I know this is going to be down at the very bottom, and then my mountains are going to be approximately in this range of the card here. Okay, so we're going to ink up full strength with our crumb cake ink. And I'm going to add that extra piece of scrap paper on my score mark. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp right about there. Okay, and again, I can see right through my block and my photopolymer stamp, so I can see all of the ink that's being absorbed right into the paper. Okay, not too bad. There's a few spots that are missed there, but that's okay. Now, without re-inking, I'm going to make another layer of mountains here in the background. So I'm going to move my stamp side to side and stagger so that I get a second generation of my ink, which is going to be much lighter. See how it makes that background? And then I'm going to do it a third time and make another set of mountains way back here. There we go. So you can kind of see the gradient look that we're getting here by using, without re-inking, we're just using the stamp to make three different generations of the mountains. Okay, I'm going to clean off my stamp, and then I'm going to flip it over, and now we're going to use the etched side of it. Okay, so I'm going to close up this one, and we're going to use our early espresso ink. And again, full strength. I'm inking the full length of my stamp. And I'm going to line up my paper here on my score line. And now this image is going to go a little bit lower, and that's going to make all of the mountain outline. Oh wow, look how cool that is. Very pretty. Okay, I'm just going to stamp off the extra here and then clean my stamp. Alright, so we have our mountains in place. That's looking really nice. And I'm going to now add a little bit of greenery with the trees. So I'm going to pull off my mountains, go back to our trees, and I need to use the etched side. So I have that ready to go. And now we're going to stamp with the old olive. Okay, so again, this piece is going to be right down here, and I want to add some trees that will be just above that layer there. Okay, so I'm going to ink up, again, this is old olive. Okay, and then this is going to go right about there. So we're adding a layer of the trees in the background. There we go. Okay, that looks good. A lot of steps to this card, but it is so worth it. This is a great set for masculine cards with Father's Day coming up in a couple months. It would make great birthday cards. Yeah, it's just overall really a fun stamp set to work with. All right, and next I'm going to go back to my mountains. You see that I have some white space in between my mountains and the trees. So what I want to do is add a little bit of green in there. Now we could certainly use a dauber, we could use maybe a blending brush, but I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz ink. And I'm going to use, again, the flat side of the mountain. And I'm going to ink that up. So I'm just going to fill in all of that white space. I'm not quite sure how, let me get a piece of scrap paper here. I want to make sure that's not going to be too crazy dark. So let's see. Yeah, that's a little dark. So I think I will go ahead and just use the second generation. And I'm going to just place this right over the white space and fill that in. Okay, let's see how we did. Oh, okay, not too bad. Now I see a white spot I missed. So I'm just going to take my stamp and use the ink that's on there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think we're done with the mountains, and now we just have to add some clouds. Get all of these out of the way here. And we'll go back to our balmy blue ink. And then this is our cloud image. So again, it has that flat side, and then it has the etched side. So let's start by making the solid color cloud. So this ink is pretty vibrant. So I'm going to just stamp off. Yeah, see how dark that is? That's way too dark way darker than I want. And even second generation is dark. So let's just put a third generation stamp right about there. Oh, that looks good. And then I'm going to clean that, flip it over, and then we're going to use the etched side. So let's see how dark those turn out. Yeah, oh, I think second generation will be good. And then we'll place one right about here. And then another one right over here. Okay, that is looking pretty good. I think that's it for the clouds. So we're ready to add on our green trees on the very front down here. Okay, so I just need a little bit of our Stampin' Seal. Come on, Stampin' Seal. There we go. All right, and that gets placed right here on the front. Okay, and I have just a little bit of extra hanging over, so I'll trim that off with my scissors. And then our sentiment, which is here. I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals. We all love dimensionals, right? And then the final step will be to add a little bit of our linen thread. Put that right there. And then our thread. So we want to make this into a bow, which means we need about 4 lengths of our card. So that's kind of a good judge of how much we need. If we were making a knot, we would do 3 lengths. So, but a bow calls for about 4. And then we'll get this tied up and we will be just about done. There are a couple of other reversible stamp sets in the catalog, and it's something new that Stampin' Up! Came up with. I think they even trademarked or patented the idea. There we go. Well, my bow is a little bit more curly than I want, but that's okay. Okay, so sometimes if we want to flatten out a curly piece of twine, all we have to do is like run it through our fingers like that, and that helps to smooth out the curls. Okay, and then final step is to take my bone folder and then press down on that seam so it's nice and flat. Okay, wow, I'm really happy with how that turned out. And again, it takes just a little bit of work, a little bit of practice. However, I think the result is really awesome. Okay, so that is Mountain Air, and the stamp set itself is $20. And the dies, I think they are 34. Let's see here. And the dies are 36. Okay, so those can be ordered at any time. If I can help you with an order, please let me know. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.